Welcome back to Living 757. Ashley, you know our next guest, he's making the difference here in our community. And guess what? His podcast, the Randy Wilson Podcast, is known for his vibrant content. And today we have the pleasure to have Randy Wilson with us. Let's welcome to the show. How are you, Randy?
Thank you for having me. I'm great.
Yeah, so exciting because
I'm very excited.
you're known for a lot going on and your background is amazing.
Thank you so much.
He looks very humble though.
I know.
And I read his bio and it's like I was not finished it. But anyways, first of all, thank you for being with us today. Now, question, your background in mental health and counseling, that help you to manage your podcast? Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that may be what you catching with my demeanor, just because I've been involved working with so many people with severe mental illness, and so it has helped position me for my podcast and know how to have conversations with a very broad, diverse group of people.
That is great because I think it's very important. But Randy also be involved in theater, musical. Like you have so many hats, and I think that's a very important key when you have your guest.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said you've spoken to a broad range of people. A lot of those people you've had on your podcast have been really influential people, like big names.
Yes.
So how do you go back making contact with them and getting them on your show?
A lot of it, I think, just based on my reputation and being a person who's really invested in community and trying to be a difference maker. And so I think that adds the credibility.
Right.
And I was a liberal arts kid growing up, so I've been very connected with community, culture, and I think it all relevant. We all live in the same community. We just play different roles.
Yep.
And so I try to bring the skill set that I have in behavioral health to just everyday society and talking to everybody.
Now, being involved in music, theater, in so many things, and also coaching, counselor, life coaching.
Yes.
How do you decide, like, okay, let me do this podcast and help the communities because you are involved in everything now?
Maybe similar to how you guys choose guests. It doesn't matter what industry a person's in as long as that they're making a difference. They're an impact player, and that I know that people want to hear what they got to say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's important. Like, selfishly, I may want to talk to them, but if other people are not intrigued or interested, I just try to stay away from it. So.
Yeah, and
Then you can just have those conversations off camera or off mic. You have done something that we strive to do here in most segments, where you relay meaningful information, but you try to do it in an engaging and fun way.
Yeah.
How do you kind of go about making sure that your content walks that kind of fine line?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that. I mean, I definitely try to use humor, but I mean, what you see with me on my podcast is pretty much who I am. So it's not really an act. When I first got into it, selfishly, it was because I was sitting in the basement bored, watching all these things on my phone, and I'm like, I could do that. It's basement talk, it's locker room talk.
Yes.
I think probably what helps me kind of steer that line is knowing that I'm married. My wife's going to keep me accountable. I have a son.
Smart girl.
I have a son, so I have children that I know that look at me too.
Yes.
So I want to be cool enough to be relevant to them, but also, smart enough to make sure that I'm not conflicting with the sources of how I bring in income, because it's not just podcasting.
Yeah, so
Right.
we're seeing now some pictures from the podcast. I know you just saying like it's very cool, very organic. And do you ever have an experience like someone just go out of the blue line and just say like, hey, or get mad at it? And how do you have to contain that situation?
If I'm receiving it through an email?
Yes, no, like right there in the podcast, like with you, next to you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I will say this. I kind of learned to have people sign disclosure statements so that, I own the content. Because I do get a lot of people sometimes upset with how I may have cut something. But I haven't had like too bad of a situation. Someone said recently that, I'm good enough to have street cred, but also political enough to know how to walk that line. I guess a lot of it has to do with having a background in mental health.
Yes, well, I like that what you just say. So now we're gonna put you on the test. And how about if we're gonna reverse the situation? We are going to be your guest, and you're gonna be asking us questions. Are you ready for that, Ashley?
Yep.
Just walk us through how your podcast work.
Now you're the host.
beginning. You are the host.
So I like to end a lot of my episodes with a game, a rapid fire game where I ask you questions. You don't think, you just impulsively respond, right?
Got you.
Got this.
And so you both will respond. question. So, you're both apparently young people, okay? But when you're younger versions of yourself, who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Tom Cruise.
Okay. This is good. All right. Has that changed over the years?
Yes, it does.
Yes?
Yep.
So is Jonathan Taylor still someone that you no?
No, still JT though. Justin Timberlake.
Got
Justin
it.
Timberlake, hey girl.
What about you?
Now it's Cheyenne. It's a singer, Latin singer. So yeah, I moved to Puerto Rico.
Gotcha. You know, Justin Timberlake's DJ is a Virginia native.
It
Andrew
is.
Hyde.
We know
We had him on.
Oh, did you?
Andrew Hyde.
Hey, Andrew.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we follow him.
Cool. It's a new year. Did you start the year with any type of like New Year's resolutions or goals or?
We're going there.
Trying to drink more water.
Yeah.
Trying to start working out. Going back to the gym.
Hey, you look like y'all
We'll
working
get
out.
there.
Oh my God, yes, it's one of them.
All right. So what is on the horizon for 2025 here in the first quarter? What are you most excited for?
For me, it's making
The
smart.
Washington Commanders.
Making smart choices.
Yeah.
And yes, value my
Love
time
that.
better. Yes.
How about you?
Yeah.
What's on the horizon?
I have a co-host, I have a new co-host.
Hey.
Yeah. She couldn't get her makeup done in time for today's
Nikki.
show.
That's
Yes.
okay.
But I'm really excited about introducing her. So people will start seeing her in a staple seat. So that's
Wow.
cool.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Randy,
you.
for all this. This is great. I love it. I think we should ready to go to your podcast and having like a
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
meaningful
We're going to
conversations.
talk about that during this package, but we got to talk.
Yes.
All right.
Well,
Thank
once
you
again,
so
thank
much.
you so
Thank
much.
you
We have
so
all
much.
his info right there on the screen. If someone wants to follow him and watch the Randy Wilson podcast, it's amazing.